Welcome to Turtle Talk. This is Morgan's story and the family's journey. I'm Craig, and
Hi, Michelle. Welcome.
welcome back. We are progressing through end of year one, starting year two, jumping back and forth. We even hit year three a little bit there. But very recently, we talked about fixing the foot drop, fixing
Right.
the, what do you call it with the hands?
Her curve, I don't know.
Like the hand curl when you're not
Yeah, the
using them.
curling.
Yeah, so we're at Mayo, loving the team working on Morgan.
Yes. So as we're progressing, with Mayo, other things are happening, still back here. Like we have to set up with social services. You know, um, we had to apply. This was really hard. Immediately in the hospital, when we were in the hospital early on, somebody, I'm sure it was the social worker, said we needed to apply for Social Security for Morgan.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why? She's going to get better, right? But they pushed. So we had to apply for Social Security disability. And with that comes Medicare, all these crazy things, and stuff. And Medicaid, we had to apply for all of these things right away, which I thought kind of was it. But once we got Morgan home, then we're like, what do we do? So in going to these different places and we get Mayo once again, man, stellar. They have patient advocates who are like, hey, have you guys signed up for social services things and things like that? So they guide us in the right direction and we apply for social services here in South Dakota, to help with home care or, different things. I don't know. I don't know what's available. What are we supposed to do? But people are telling us you need to do this, so we do it. Well, as we're going, I think they directed us to the wrong department first and, you know, trying to get help for Morgan and things like that. And we weren't really getting anywhere. And so I end up in a huge argument with her social worker who I'm like, I don't think you know what you're doing. And she's screaming at me on the phone, like very unprofessional. I'm like, I'm done with you. Like if you don't know what's out there to help her and you're not going to do anything to help her, then I'm done with you. Well, I end up calling the state to file a grievance. And they're like, well, you should be with adult services, not just regular, like food stamp, um,
Right.
Medicaid person. So finally they get us to the right lady. She comes and does an evaluation and I'm thinking, wow, this is great, and she's like, we can help cover like chucks and briefs and different things that Morgan needs. We can get some home care in here for you to help, so you can get a break and things like that. So I'm thinking, wow, this could be good, right? Anyhow, so through all of this now, as we're doing these surgeries, I've already got some caregivers lined up and I didn't know. And like I said, this is not, there is no roadmap. There is no checklist. There is no book. So you don't know what's out there. And it seems like, and I appreciate saving taxpayers money and not frivolously spending it. But in the same breath, when someone needs help, they need help, right? So why are we not disclosing what's available? I really felt like things were always getting hit. Like, oh, well, yeah, you do qualify if you ask about it, but you have to ask for them to offer. So basically, it was down to like they give us 10 hours a week of care for Morgan. And, you know, it was
It's almost nothing.
it was almost nothing for someone who's fully dependent,
Right.
right? And so I utilized that care right away with one company. And let me tell you, we used some local people, which some of them were amazing and super caring and good. But then there was a couple who would like clock in and go put their kid on the bus and then come back and say, "Oh, well, I see you already got Morgan up," and then clock out and leave. And getting paid to do that. So I report them. Then the company drops us and says, "No." I'm like, "There's HIPAA violations because going to the bar or whatever and talking about us, talking about the legal stuff going on in our house." I mean, I'm like, no, nope. So I report them and the company drops us. Instead of fixing the problem, this home care company dropped Morgan's care that day. They didn't even give us the mandatory by law 30-day notice to find other care. They just dropped us. Yeah. So then I'm on the struggle bus to find another company and I find one and they come in and we were getting like college girls, which was great because we got a couple physical therapy students and stuff, and it was awesome because they'd come in 2 afternoons a week and they do the stretching therapy and things like that with Morgan. We had a nurse that would come in every week and help me with meds and all those different things. So it was pretty great. Um, and as we're going along though, I'm finding out that there's more out there, right? So remember now, we've got all these legal things going on.
Yep.
And we meet this life care planner guy, and he flies up to meet or calls us. He called the first time he called. And so we're visiting on the phone, and he's like, over the next year or so, I'm going to be working with you guys for the court system. And he was himself a disabled person in a wheelchair, so he really knew a lot. So then he's like, "Hey, there's this federal law that says that if your person could or should be in a nursing home and you choose to keep them at home, the state has to provide equivalent care." So I start arguing this point with the state, and they're like, "No, we're only giving you 7 hours a week." And I said, "But Morgan requires round the clock care." "Nope, nope, we're only giving you 7 or 10, or maybe we can get you up to 12, but it's like, and they wouldn't let Tom and I do it. So it had to be somebody outside, even though we're doing it already, which, I mean, what a fiasco. Like, seriously. Like, there's this federal law in place and we're going to not give it to you, even though you could desperately use it. Right? Yeah, big fight with social services. But why should it be, if there's these programs to help people like Morgan, why is it top secret? Why are we not helping these people? We'd rather stick them in a nursing home and hope like hell they get good care,
Right.
than to let the family who loves them take care of them and keep them at home, which is better all the way around, whether it's a disabled person like Morgan or your grandma and grandpa. I mean, it's so much better if you can just keep them at home with you where they're well taken care of and loved and, but our society is a little backwards in its thinking, which, that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But
I've got stories.
yes, so here we are. I'm fighting with social services to get as much help as I can get because Tom's working, I'm exhausted, and there is no end in sight.
Yeah. Right.
Like, this is a lifetime commitment. But we made that lifetime commitment when we got pregnant with each one of our children.
Yeah.
I'm coming to learn that not all parents are created equal, because people tell us a lot that they're very in awe of what we're doing and they're very proud of us. And I can never wrap my brain around that because in my mind, I'm like, I am just a mom taking care of my kid. End of story. There's nothing spectacular going on here. There is nothing.
But there is.
But I can't see that.
Right.
Like I'm a mom,
Right.
just doing my job.
Yeah.
No matter how tired I get, I will get up tomorrow and do the same thing because I'm a mom who's dedicated to my kid. You know,
That's why you have mom guilt too.
I have horrible mom
Yeah.
guilt.
But nothing I'll say will ever take it away, but
Right.
you've done the best you could under the
Yeah.
circumstances.
You know, and the first year, like, thank God we were busy in ICU and we were busy at the inpatient rehab hospital. It's when we came home that I went, what the hell am I doing? Did Tom and I make the right decision? What if I fail her? I've already failed her. How do I fix this? How do I keep from making things worse? And then you get the anniversary.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
You get to the anniversary of the accident.
What'd you do?
Avoided it.
Distract yourself?
I did. I did. Like, you try really hard not to think about it, but now it's been a year and Morgan's not Morgan. I thought this would be a really fast recovery. Hey, her brain's going to heal. Everything's going to be good. My baby's going to be walking and talking. And life goes on. But now it's been a year and we're not there. And I think of why the hell didn't I ground her and keep her home? Why did we let her go out that night? Why this? Why that? I should have. Why didn't I? And that anniversary is a very stark reminder of what was taken away from us and what was taken away from her. Not just the family, but her, you know? And it just, there's lots of thoughts that go with that. You know, is my baby ever going to get married? Is she going to have kids? Is she going to have her own house? Is she ever going to be able to drive her favorite car? You know, that car's sitting in the yard. Her brother blew the motor up on it. Someday, maybe someday I'll have money to restore that car for her because, man, that car brings a big smile to her face. But the anniversary is a day where we think of all the things that have been lost. And
tough.
every year that the anniversary comes around, it's a big slap in the face that now we're 8 years out and she's still not walking and talking. And maybe my optimism and my hope and what I know in my heart to be true, maybe I'm delusional.
I doubt it.
That's the reality that we face. And I know her dad faces the same things, you know. So what can I do, you know? So we avoid it because it is such a stark reminder that another year has gone by. It's another year that she's not back to her normal. We have new normals now. Everything is a new normal. And what's scary is things that were very difficult have become second nature. Traveling, car rides, eating out at a restaurant, you know.
But I'll say your hopes and aspirations for where you want her progress to be also drive you
They do.
to push her at therapy.
And I push her hard.
And we're going to get into it, but swimming.
I know.
Holy shit.
You guys got to see that
Firsthand.
firsthand.
The little
The little thing.
the little attitude. I never saw the attitude until she didn't want to come out of that pool.
I know. We'll tell
We'll
you the
get
whole
there.
story.
We'll get there. But
so here we are. And every year I sit down. I avoid that day. Man, I avoid that day. But at some point, I stop and think, okay, another year has gone by and this is bullshit that I don't have my daughter back. What do I have to do for her?
Yeah.
What are our goals for this next year and how are we going to get there? So I spend a lot of time researching and then I give it to Tom, who's the science guy.
Yeah.
Because he's so smart in science. It's crazy. Like, I wish I was half as smart as he is.
Do you ever look back at the past year or since it happened and just write a list of all the things that she has done that you were told she wouldn't do?
No, I don't. I really don't. But what gets me is when I'm looking through photos or videos of her and I'm like, holy crap. And I'll show Tom something and I'm like, we'll sit there and we'll reminisce for a minute and say, do you remember when she was this? And now she's this.
Yeah.
And that's where the light comes on for us and we say, oh my gosh, she has made huge progress. But we don't see it. We don't see it unless we're looking at those photos and say, oh my gosh, do you remember here to here, or, we're it.
Yeah.
It's just hard because for us, it's right here all the time. So what we've learned is she'll do one tiny little thing, like she'll go like just touching her outer tongue to her lip was a challenge. And now she's licking food out of her teeth and licking her lips. And, so one day you'll just be feeding her and it'll dawn on her that, oh my goodness, I remember when we were shoving our finger in her mouth to put a baby spoon of baby food in her mouth.
Yeah.
So that's where the aha moments come at for us. It's slow. Recovery is very slow. I wish these moments were more profound for us, but it's photos and things like that show us the profound moments.
Yeah.
People on the outside tell us, oh my gosh, we haven't seen you in 6 months and there's a huge difference in Morgan. Or, geez, 3 weeks ago when I saw her, she was this way and now she's this way. But we don't see that.
You see it every day.
I see it every day.
Yep.
So for us to be like, wow, it has to be something very significant for us to say, wow, look at that. Or for us to be going through photos and videos and saying, oh, look at this. So we've, everything was a new normal. And I'm fighting to learn about social services and what's available there. And what we found is we bump into somebody and they say, oh, are you getting this service? Or are you guys doing this? And we're like, oh. Or I'm researching, and I'm always in the research files on traumatic brain injuries and what new technologies are out there, what treatment protocols there are. And then I get feelings like I get kind of stagnant, or I'm like, this doctor hasn't done much for us for a very long time. And it's just like a nagging in the back of my head that I need to start looking. There's more out there.
Right.
Not that this doctor is bad or not that this therapist is bad, but there's more.
Right.
You have to find more. If we're going to help Morgan, we always have to be striving for more.
Hungry for it.
Yes. So, which has really led us to flying to Salt Lake City.
Right.
Reaching out to Mayo, getting with the team there, and the things that the team there has done, they were great at just picking up the ball for us and saying, okay, we're going to take this ball and divide it 6 ways, and you're going to a physical med and rehab doctor, you're going to speech therapy, you're going to integrative medicine, you're going to occupational therapy, you're going to speech therapy, and whatever else we can throw in, like eye therapy,
surgery recovery.
So that's been our blessing. I don't think we would be anywhere near where we are if it hadn't been for Mayo. And we continue to go there to this day. We're still going there almost monthly. I go.
So previously you talked about one of the doctors kept wanting to just add another med. But then you
Yes.
moved to Mayo. So did they back off on meds? Did you do a medication evaluation? What transpired?
No, what really happened was, the place in Sioux Falls was really nagging at me that this is not where we should be.
Yeah. Well, you probably hit the ceiling of
Yeah.
where their care now.
What their care abilities were.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, you know what? I need to be done. And I really just had a sour taste because of that physical therapist who just wasn't even willing to think outside the box for Morgan or anything. So now, here we have her primary care who, she doesn't know a lot about the whole TBI medication stuff, and that's not her specialty.
Right.
Right? So then we get to Mayo and we got the physical med and rehab, and we kind of go through the meds and stuff, and they made some changes to the meds. And then one day I was sitting with Morgan. A lot of times I'm just sitting and meditating or praying, and a thought comes to me and I write it down right away, so eventually I can get back to it. And the thought is I need to look at the meds.
Okay.
Like, I can't count on anybody to do anything if we have to do it. Like, if we want something, we have to do it and then present it, right? Yep. And these doctors are busy. They have hundreds and hundreds of patients. So, that's why we research as hard as we do. And that's why we're looking at every avenue of Morgan. So what I did is Morgan was on like 27 medications. And I just had this nagging voice that kept saying, they're hindering her, they're not helping her. They're hindering her, they're not helping her. So I put on my wall, I cleared everything off and I put little stickers on of every one of the medications. And I've got string going all over which one cancels which one out and why are we even on this one and things like that. And I realized there were only like 2 meds that she really needed to be on. I mean, the other ones had purpose, but the effects of them required more medication. So is this really the avenue we want to be on? Right? So I went to her primary care doctor and I said, I want her off all these meds. I mean, I showed her a picture and I said, I want her off the meds. Help me titrate down, because either you're going to help me or I'm doing it anyhow.
Okay.
But I want to be safe. Went to her Mayo doctor and I said, I think we need to look at cutting her meds and blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, they could see it too. So collectively, we started taking her off meds. And, they're like, well, you can do 3 at once or this many or this many. And I'm like, we're going to do 1 med, 1 at a time. And instead of like titrating down over a week or 10 days, I titrated down over 3 weeks for every medication. So this took a long time.
Yeah.
But some of the meds that if you titrated too fast would cause seizures, and we don't have seizures, so why would we want to even introduce them into it, right? So let's do things the right way. So we spent a lot of time, Tom did, of titrating down her medications and then noting changes that we saw coming off the meds, right? Which then helped the doctors decide, do we need to reintroduce that med or are we still okay without it? So by the time we're all done, we've got her down to like 2 or 3 prescription medications. And then we entered in a bunch of supplement medication, not medications, but supplements for her, like alpha lipoic acid, which is great for helping the spasticity or the, not spasticity, that's in her arms, the plasticity of her brain,
Okay.
right? We added things, like there's this vitamin company, LifeVantage, and they have Protandim, and it's pretty amazing supplement. Every doctor that I've said that Morgan's on Protandim, they're like, that stuff is so great for patients. She's been on it for years. It's, we really felt like there was a little bit of an awakening after putting her on that and the lipoic acid and getting her on that. And as we're going, we're meeting different people and different providers. And, like they had her on this medicine called baclofen to help with this spasticity and the tightness and stuff. But what we noticed is every time they amped it up, her spasticity got worse.
Okay.
Her tightness got worse. And doctors would argue with me and saying, well, that's not the purpose of the medication. We don't think that's happening. And I'm like, but it is happening. Morgan's a little bit of an enigma anyhow. So trust me on this. So we actually did away with that. And she's moving freer. Her movements are a lot freer. But it really took Tom and I to evaluate and study and research and then present, and whether they agreed with me or not, she was coming off those meds. I knew it. I could feel it and I knew it. And that was how this whole journey's been. As we research, we bring it to them. And if they don't agree, we don't care. We're going to find a way. If we think this is going to benefit her, we're going to find a way to make this happen. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys. So keep the comments and the questions coming for us.
Yes. Love the questions. Please subscribe. Go to www.givemorgan.org or visit me at my real estate website, realtorcraigbertrand.com. And we always want your questions, comments, like, and share wherever you listen or watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.